The Intercollegiate
Psychedelics
Network.
Hello, my name is Agasthya Vedre Kyanam. I'm an freshly graduated postgraduate researcher with the Drug Use and Behavior Laboratory at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. Today I'll be presenting cognitive and cultural transformations through dissolution of mental schemas, an interdisciplinary theory of psychedelic function. This presentation will explore an interdisciplinary theory of psychedelic function that involves fields such as neurosociology, cognitive psychology, and neuroscience. Psychedelics, as we know, has significant effects on the brain that involve lasting change on not only subjective experience of emotions, but also lasting changes to neuroanatomy and the physiology of neural networks. This theory aims to sort of understand the mechanism behind the efficacy of psychedelics for improving mental health conditions, and also to explore the potential for psychedelics to change very deeply ingrained attitudes that could have implications for health as well as society. We want to explore both the sociological and neurobiological implications of psychedelics in this theory. Some of the advantages of interdisciplinary perspectives include the fusion of multiple perspectives, creativity and insight, and an increase in sort of confidence with skill of exploring more nuanced aspects of scientific concepts. This is a diagram that sort of explicates the neurosociological framework of the theory. So as you can see here, our theory is focused on the bottom left and bottom right, sort of the focus between the brain, the neuroanatomy of the brain, and society. Now, neurosociology is situated in three nodes: brain, mind, and society, and it's essential to understanding the theory to understand the three nodes. But the focus of the theory that I will be presenting here today are the bottom two nodes that have interface that has not been sufficiently explored in sort of mainstream academic literature in psychedelics, and that is something that I want to bring to light, the link between sort of neurology and social processes. Psychedelics, as we all know, are antagonists of the serotonin 2A receptor. This plays a super important role in regulation of mood, the strength or weakness of cognition, perception of both social processes as well as individual attitudes, and also things like self-perception of personal attitudes. This increased brain connectivity enhances communication in parts of the brains that were previously isolated to each other. On the left is a figure from a landmark study in the neural networking of, in displaying the neural networking of psychedelics. As you can see, the psilocybin facilitates hyperconnectivity between the various regions of the brain, which are described using the different colors. Each color is one region of the brain, and as you can see, the connections and interactions between nodes within themselves are increased, but also across other nodes are also increased. The theoretical transformation aspect of the of what I'm trying to get at here sort of posits that increased connectivity between brain regions, causes restructuring of neural patterns that in turn dissolve pre-established mental and cultural schemas. We use the term mental and cultural schemas to refer to a set of attitudes and behaviors that are contained within the brain that rely on neural circuitry. These effects can be leveraged therapeutically to modify preformed attitudes that have implications on health, because these attitudes potentially underpin risky health behaviors, maladaptive inclination to maladaptive behaviors, and other aspects of health behavior that have significant implications on the consistency of health, as well as the occurrence of certain illnesses. The part of the theory that involves schemas is based on Piaget's theory of schemas. Cognitive psychologist Jean Piaget proposed the idea of the concept of schemas, which are cognitive frameworks that help us process information. Schemas can increase the efficiency of information processing, but the rigidity and unchanging nature of already developed schemas may be prone to cognitive bias, problematic behaviors that I am theorizing lead to maladaptive health behaviors and maladaptive attitudes, not only to oneself and one's behavior, but also to others, which is very important in the context of the more social aspects of public health and the implications that public health implications of psychedelics. Since schemas are neural shortcuts formed by repeated exposure to the same thoughts, behaviors, or experience, deconstructed perceptive barriers could potentially result from the coupling of increased neuroplasticity and decreased isolation of neural networks. As you can see here, the environment affects cognitive processes, which in turn affect perception, and psychedelics have an effect on the middle node here, and which can affect both the perception of the environment and the neural circuitry that underpins perception. Psychedelics may potentially reduce the self-focused negative rumination that defines sort of the more negatively valenced mental schemas that surround depression and other states of low dopamine. This disruption can help individuals, quote unquote, step outside their usual patterns of thought and gain a broader perspective, as well as increase adaptive behavior and decrease maladaptive behavior at the same time. The resulting reorganization of self-schema, sort of self-attitude, the personal attitudes and self-image, self-perception, may also lead to a more adaptive outlook. Neurosociology is the study of how social phenomena shape our brains, and how our brains in turn shape social phenomena. The interface between neurology and society can be mediated and modulated by psychedelics, especially in regards to psychological disorders that have whose pathologies are partly lie in the social sphere, such as substance use disorder, depression, and anxiety. A neurosociological perspective can help us understand how cultural attitudes and schemas and mental schemas are phenomena that are embodied with origins in our neural circuitry, sort of how society becomes biology, if you will. If psychedelics can modify these neural connections, we think they also have the potential to affect the cultural schemas embedded within those neural networks. The sense of oneness that is a frequent feature of psychedelic experiences can often lead to profound changes in the rigidity of schemas, and also the tribalism that leads to many social ills, such as racism and other forms of discrimination. Psychedelics can also induce mystical type experiences characterized by feelings of unity, sacredness, profound significance, which also lead to lasting changes in the attitudes and behaviors of individuals, that we posit is due to the patterning of neural structures that underpin these attitudes. We think psychedelics offer a promising intervention for societal ills due to their ability to dissolve rigid mental schemas. By breaking down entrenched attitudes, psychedelics may enable individuals to view others more empathetically. Now, this is something that has not been as explored within the academic sphere as sort of the positive impact that psychedelics can have in the individual. Sort of now we're focusing more on the positive impact psychedelics can have on an individual's interaction with others or interaction with their environment or more broader social phenomena. They can also help individuals realize internalized social phenomena that they might want to seek to change. This newfound perspective could lead to increased inclusivity, reduced aggression, and the ego dissolving effects of psychedelics may also help individuals critically examine societal norms that they previously held closer to their identity and the way that they have lived out their lives, which are defined by cultural schemas. The transformative potential of psychedelics extends, like we said before, beyond individual mental health improvements. Psychedelics can address social and cultural biases that not only contribute to things like discrimination, but also to things like ill health. So we posit that psychedelics have a two-pronged effect on both the individual and society. Cultural biases might encompass stereotypes about cultural groups or practices. And if we can get to the root of those cultural biases, such as sociocultural schemas, and then psychedelics may potentially have drastic effects on the chain of development of these behaviors. They may also help individuals step outside of their cultural context and sort of criticize the status quo. This could lead to questioning and rejecting harmful cultural norms such as toxic masculinity, beauty standards, aggression, and other attitudes that might underpin other forms of problematic behavior. Psychedelics might also influence social and cultural attitudes more broadly. Most prominently right now, the way we could investigate that would be within communities that have focused on psychedelics that previously did not. By transforming individual attitudes, psychedelics could create ripple effects throughout social networks, leading to broader societal and cultural change. Group psychedelic therapy supports this idea, showing how shared psychedelic experiences can foster unity and sort of collective understanding. So there's also this aspect of the collective dissolution of collectively held cultural schemas, because cultural schemas by their nature are not held individually, but are held on a wide scale among many individuals who are parts of communities. So the sort of disruption in neural networks can also, we theorize, disrupt social networks at the same time, or at least as a consequence of that. Key takeaways here are psychedelics have transformative potential beyond individual mental health improvements. Psychedelics could address societal issues such as social and cultural biases, contributing to a healthier as well as a more inclusive society. Influence on rigid cognitive schemas. Psychedelics can disrupt rigid cognitive patterns, potentially helping individuals to reevaluate and change their negative and unhelpful mental schemas. This could lead to more flexible thinking and a capacity for increased adaptive behaviors in the context of health behavior. By transforming individual attitudes, psychedelics could create ripple effects throughout social networks, leading to broader societal and cultural change. They can also foster feelings of interconnectedness, empathy, and unity, challenging tribalism, the tribalism that underpins a lot of discrimination, potentially reducing prejudice. While the effects of psychedelics in this context are promising, more research is needed to fully understand their potential benefits and risks, especially in the context of the nexus between mental health and health behavior and social society and culture. If you would like to contact me, this is my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me at any time, and I can get back to you with any questions.